Okay, hi Danny. Today we are going to do lesson number 44. Oh, right now as I'm doing this lesson, it's a beautiful rainy day outside. Sometimes I really love the rain. So I'm just enjoying doing these lessons for you. So thanks, Danny, for letting me do these lessons for you because what a great opportunity I have to teach you and to see you learn. I'm so grateful for that. The first thing that you get to do is your multiplication facts. So that is going to be fun for you. And then we have a great lesson here. This lesson goes over multiplying two-digit numbers. So multiplying like 20 times 3 or 42 times 6. Really cool. So this is going to be a nice review for you. I know you've learned it one time before, but I think we can always use a good review. And it's not too long of a lesson. So I think you're really, really going to enjoy math today, okay? Have fun doing it. Can't wait to see your homework. Okay, love ya. Get ready to do your multiplication facts. Okay, bye. Okay, hi there, Danny. Today we are going to do lesson number 44, and you should have done your multiplication facts by now. So we are going to jump right into this lesson, and this goes over multiplying two-digit numbers part 1. So this is the thing that I sort of asked you, do you know how to do this? And you were like, yeah, I've learned before, but I don't know, I need a refresher. So here's your refresher, Danny. So I want you to pay lots of attention to this lesson because this is something that you're definitely going to need to know from here on out in the future. It's going to be on ACT tests, SAT tests. Test makers love these sorts of questions, okay? So I want you to pay lots of attention. You kind of reminded me of Charlie Brown today because remember when I asked you how happy you've ever been on a scale of 1 to 10, and the happiest you've ever been is a 3. But I was pretty happy that you were a 2.5 today. So it's a little bit like Charlie Brown. He's a little bit, I don't know, not exactly pessimistic, but maybe like a realist. And that's kind of how you are. And even though you're like that, everybody loves Charlie Brown and everybody likes you. So here we go. We're going to go into mental math first. And of course, these are the ones, the madman is behind you. He's not going to let you do any of this on a calculator. So let's practice doing it in your head, okay? So we're going to do 70 minus 5. See if you can write that down. Do that in your head. We're practicing subtracting a number that ends in 5 from a number that ends in 0, okay? Then we're going to do 70 minus 45. So remember what they wanted you to do before is do 70 minus 40 and then subtract another 5. Okay. So C is going to be 370 minus 125. So this is a little tricky. So if you need to subtract 120 first, and then subtract 5 from whatever you get. All right, let's move on to D. We are going to do $5.96, and we're going to add to that $3.95. So remember, maybe add $4 and then take away a nickel. All right, E, we're going to add 76 plus 9 plus 200. Write your answer. If I'm going too fast, just feel free to pause, okay? F is going to be, don't look at those yet because that's for the next thing. F is going to be 560 plus 24 plus 306. You're going to write your answer. Okay, so the next part is going over vocabulary. I'm just going to put vocab. And they want you to use 2 of the vocabulary words that we have done in the past. So the 2 that they want you to do are factor and product. And I want you to remember that when you multiply 2 numbers together, the answer that you get is called the product. The 2 things that you multiply together are called factors. So if you had a problem like this over here, a blank times a blank is equal to a blank, notice that we're talking about multiplication. So if you were to take this vocabulary word and put it somewhere, where would it go? Okay, and then if you were supposed to take this vocabulary word and put it somewhere, where would it go? And then do the same thing with this one on the bottom. Okay, so put the correct word. It might be factor, it might be product. Put it in all of these blanks and see what you get, okay? So I will let you do that, and you're definitely going to need to pause it there, and I'm going to go on to the new concept, okay? The new concept gives us this problem to think about. If there are 21 performers, so we've got 21 performers in each troupe. Now I had to look up that word troupe because I was like, what is that? But it's just basically a group of performers. So it might be a group of dancers or a group of acrobats or a group of performers, okay? So I chose a group of dancers kind of like in that picture. So if you have 21 performers in each troupe, then how many performers are in 3 troupes? Okay, so it would be 3 groups of 21. And you can tell when I say it that way that this is going to be a multiplication problem. So there are 3 ways to figure out a multiplication problem like this. You have 21 in a troop, so that's one group. 21 in another troop, so that's another group. And then 21 in a third, so that's three groups or three troops of 21. So how would you figure that out? Let's do method number 1 and figure it out. Okay. They want you to think about, if you were to do something like mental math, they want you to think 21 is sort of the same, it's actually exactly the same, as 20 plus 1. So if you want to do 21 times 3, and that's the problem that you want to solve, this is one way that you could do it. You could do 20 times 3, and then you could add to that 1 times 3. This might be a way to do sort of mental math. So you could do 20 times 3, which is something we learned how to do last time, and then 1 times 3, and add those two numbers together. So let's do 20 times 3. And I think that you remember that last time we asked you to focus on these numbers, 3 and 2, and that is going to multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. So that's going to be this answer, right? 3 times 2 is 6. And then you also have a 0, so you can't forget about the 0, and you have to put that down there. So I'm going to add a 0 here. So 20 times 3 is 60. And that makes sense. I think that you know how to do that. And then if you add to it 1 times 3, 1 times 3 is just 3. 3 times 1 is 3. Anything times 1 is the other thing. So if we add those numbers together, 60 plus 3, you get a total of 63. And that's one way to figure out what is 21 times 3. You can just do 20 times 3 and 1 times 3 and add them together. Now there's another way to figure it out, and this is the way I really want you to learn how to do it, because this is something you're going to have to definitely know and definitely figure out. So you can just straight multiply 21 times 3. And the way that you do that is you first multiply the ones, 3 times 1, and then you're going to multiply the tens. And it's going to be 3 times 2 because 2 is in the tens place. So first we're going to multiply the ones, and let's figure out how to do that. Okay, so let's see. I'll just do it for you. So first, let me make it a little easier to see. We're going to multiply the ones. That's what we're going to multiply first, okay? So we're going to do 3 times 1. 3 times 1 is 3, okay? Then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to multiply the tens. And so we're going to multiply 3 times 2. And then that answer goes in the tens place. So 3 times 2 is 6. And we put that there. So when we multiply the ones, we're doing 1 times 3, and that goes in the ones place. And then we have to multiply the tens, so we do 3 times 2, and that goes in the sixth place. And I want you to notice that this is why they had you do 3 times 20 and then 3 times 1. We're basically doing it in one step. So to show you that, we're doing the ones first. So 3 times 1 is 3. That's kind of what we did up here. 3 times 1 is 3. And then we're doing 3 times 2, but 2 is in the tens place, so it's kind of saying 3 times 20. And when we put the 6 here, that's kind of like saying 3 times 20 is 60, because 60 goes in the tens place. And then you basically just added it together, but you did it all in one step, and you got 63. So this takes some practice to know how to do it over and over. So we're going to do one more problem, and then we're going to let you practice, okay? So for this example, we're going to multiply 42 times 3. And I already sort of outlined this first step for you because first we're going to do the ones place. So 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is going to be 6. Okay, then I can forget about the ones place, and I'm going to multiply the tens place, which is 3 times 4. Now, when I multiply 3 times 4, I get a bigger number. I'm going to get 12, and I'm going to go ahead and write 12 here. And that's basically it, and that's the whole answer. It's kind of like when you do this part right here, it's kind of like doing 3 times 40, which is actually 120. So you put it in the right spot, and it's kind of like doing the multiplication and the addition all in one step. So 3 times 4 is 12. You put that here, and the answer that you get is 126. Okay, and that's the whole answer. So that's great. I think that you can figure out how to do that. So here's another Charlie Brown picture for you, just because, you know, you're a little like him and everybody loves Charlie Brown. He's trying to sell Christmas wreaths and they're like, it isn't even Thanksgiving yet. But anyway, have fun doing your math today. This is going to be a great practice for you and a great review. Love ya. Bye.